so that was part 1. Part 2, we're going to finish up on our question C so we can figure out the greatest common factor of 18 and 30. So after we have listed out our factors of 18 and 30, we're going to go in and we're going to figure out which ones they have in common, because remember, we're finding the GCF. So we know that they have a 1, they have a 2, they have a 3, and that looks like that is it. So I am going to take the numbers that they have in common. Okay, so I see that they have a 1, a 2, and a 3, and so I know that the greatest common factor after listing them out is going to be, wait a minute, I'm missing one. Oh wait, 5 and 6. See, that was my problem. I missed 5 and 6 because I got cut out in my first video. So let's go back. I was like, that's not right. 3 and 10, and then 5 and 6. So then I see that my greatest common factor is 6. So my GCF here is 6, okay, because I listed out all the factors of both of them. I just circled the ones that they had in common, and then I noticed that I had 6 for my greatest common factor. Okay, we are going to move on to the next page of least common multiples. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to work through this page, and then I'm going to stop the video. If you feel comfortable with the information that you've gotten from the part 1 and then this one, part 2, after we do least common multiple, and you feel comfortable, then you can get started on your homework. If you don't feel comfortable, I'm going to go through and have another video of examples, more examples that are in your book, so you have more practice before you go to your homework. But if you feel like you've got it, then you may go ahead and get started. All right, so let's talk about least common multiple. So there's a couple different methods you can do to figure out least common multiple. Number 1 is use a number line. This is probably my least favorite one, just because our numbers can get very high. It's not going to be as easy as finding the least common multiple of 2 and 3, like the example that they gave us. Nonetheless, I'm going to show you how they did it in case you do have easy numbers where you could possibly list out some numbers. Now remember, multiples. So if I'm listing the multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, blah, blah, blah. Multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Okay, so super easy. Okay, again, you can see how your numbers can get really high. So if I were to list the multiples of 2, notice that they have on the X, the red X, those are the multiples of 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You notice that they have placed this red X above all of those. Okay, those are the multiples of 2. So now they're going back in with a blue X. They're listing the multiples of 3. So they list the multiples of 3. 3, they put an X, 6, 9, 12. Now, notice the ones that are doubled up right here. That's doubled up, and this one has doubled up, meaning that it has both the red X and it has the blue X. So those are ones that they have in common. Since we are doing the LCM, remember the least common multiple, the LCM, that L stands for least. If we see, and obviously it can keep going on, but we are trying to find the smallest number, so we don't have to go any farther. We found the common multiple, the least common multiple, which is 6. So the least common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. Okay, so that's one method. Again, it's a great method if you have smaller numbers, but we're not going to always get really small numbers, okay? Another one is making an organized list. This is the one that I really like. It's basically just listing your multiples. They list their multiples going horizontal. You can list them vertically, it doesn't matter. So they listed the multiples of 2 and the multiples of 3. So they list the multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and we could keep going on forever, right? An infinite amount, because there is an infinite numbers. There's infinite numbers, so it's going to keep going forever. We're not going to keep going forever. There's no point. We're just going to list a few and hopefully we can get a common multiple quickly. So then we're going to list the multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9. Do I have to go any farther? No, because look, I've already found my least common multiple again, right there, which is 6. So that's just listing out your multiples and then circling the ones that they have in common. And once you come up to that first common multiple, you don't have to go any farther. Don't make more work for yourself. Okay, now, When we talked about greatest common factor, we did prime factorization. You can use prime factorization also while doing LCM. Now, here's the other thing that I like to use, okay? So I like to use prime factorization for greatest common factor. But I like to use something that I like to call, and I would write this down, upside down division. Now, not the word division, it's so scary. No, it's not. Okay, it is not scary. What we're going to do is we are going to place our numbers that we are going to try to find the least common multiple. So for example, I'm going to use these because you notice that they did the prime factorization. Now, the only thing that is different in the prime factorization, we're going to do this part first before we do the upside down division. They have broke it down 7, 2, and 7 and 3. 14 and 21. That's as low as they'll go. So you're going to notice that they both have a 7 in common. You're going to take just one of those 7s that they have in common, okay, and you're going to place it down here, okay? And then you notice that you're left with a 2, and they've placed that here, and you're left with a 3. So then what you do is you take those numbers, 7 times 2 times 3, and you're going to get 42 for your least common multiple. Now, if we were to do the least common multiple using upside down division, this is what we do. I'm going to place both numbers like this. I'm going to do an upside down division. Now, I'm going to look at 14 and I'm going to look at 21, and I know that they have a common factor because I know my multiplication. If you don't know your multiplication, you might want to practice a little bit more or have a multiplication chart handy. Okay, I know that I can take a 7 from both of those. So I'm going to take a 7 from both of them, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it out on the left-hand side. So take a look. It's right here. I'm circling it with my cursor. Now, 7 times what gives me 14? 7 times 2. Notice I placed that 2 right under the 14. Then I'm going to come over here by the 21. 7 times what gives me 21? 7 times 3. Now, take a look what I do. All I'm going to do is multiply those numbers on the outside because I can't take any more from 2 and 3 because those are prime numbers. So 7 times 2 times 3 is going to give me 42. Okay, and we're going to do some of that. We're going to practice them. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's do upside down division for this one. Okay, for E. So we're going to do 2 and 6. Remember, we're finding the least common multiple. Okay, what number can I pull out of 2 and 6? I can do a 2, right? So 2 times 1 is, or I'm sorry, that happens all the time. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times what gives me 6? 2 times 3. Now, 1 and 3, those are both prime numbers. I can't pull out a number except for 1, and that's not going to do me any good. So now I'm just going to multiply these numbers on the outside. Looks like an L. So 2 times 1 times 3, which is going to give me a least common multiple of 6. Now, this one was kind of easy because we could have done 2, 6, and done 2, 4, 6, listed my multiples, 8, 10, 6, 12. I don't even need to go any farther because right there it is showing me that it is 6. Okay, let's take a look at 4, 5, and 10. Okay, so we're going to list, I'm going to go ahead and make a 3 one, and I'm going to have 4, 5, and 10. And we're going to go ahead and list out the multiples. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. We could keep going. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I mean, we could keep going. 10, 20, 30. Do I need to go any farther? No, look at that. My LCM of 4, 5, and 10 is 20. Okay, I'm going to stop the video here. You've gotten greatest common factor and least common multiple. If you want to see some more examples, I'm going to go into part 3. Okay? But if you feel good, you're good. You're good to get started on your homework.